Hello everybody and welcome to some very exciting LEGO 2017 news. Today I'm going to be talking to you about the 2017 wave of LEGO Star Wars sets, which have recently been revealed. Now admittedly, I'm not the biggest fan of LEGO Star Wars system sets. Not because I dislike them, because I just haven't bought many of them. I'm not that knowledgeable about Star Wars in general. So I'm not going to comment too much on these system sets, but there are a lot of sets here. There's miniature sets, miniature ships. There's also battle packs with troopers. Yoda has a Jedi starfighter. There's a Duel on Naboo set from the Phantom Menace featuring Darth Maul, Qui-Gon Jinn, and Obi-Wan. There's, the Phantom, which is another ship. Then there's some Rogue One sets, the Battle on Scarif, the Y-Wing Starfighter. I actually don't know if Y-Wing Starfighter is a Rogue One set. I don't think so, actually. Maybe, I have no clue. See, I'm not that knowledgeable. But what I am going to comment on is the 3 new buildable figures, because construction is my forte. That's what I'm most knowledgeable about, and for all intents and purposes, from what we are to know right now, in the advent of the cancellation of Bionicle, these 3 sets are the only construction sets that we know of that we're getting in 2017. Now, obviously, let's be real, these are in the winter. They'll probably have another wave of Star Wars construction later in the year, if I had to wager. That's what they've done in the past. But for all we know right now, this is all we got. So let's take a look at them. We got 3 sets. The Scarif Shore Trooper, Chirrut Îmwe, I think is how you pronounce his name. Chirrut, I don't know, Îmwe. And then Baze Malbus, or Baze, again, I don't know how to pronounce these names, but there are 3 characters from Star Wars Rogue One. So let's break these down in detail. So we have the Scarif Shore Trooper, which, for all intents and purposes, looks to be about as basic of a build as you could get. We've seen this build several times. The general Stormtrooper-esque build. Nothing crazy going on with the arms, nothing crazy going on with the legs, and a regular blaster. It's fairly generic, but the flip side of that is that the helmeted characters, the robotic characters, or even the characters wearing armor, tend to look a lot better than the characters based off of actual humans with their human heads visible, and this set is no exception. This set looks like it belongs with the CCBS formula. There's a bunch of cool recolors. There's some tan armor pieces that are new. There's some brown armor pieces which are new. There's the Star Wars leg armor piece, which appears to now have some printing on it, or that might be a sticker, I don't know. Probably printing, because I'd imagine it'd be difficult to apply a sticker to that piece, but maybe not. They could surprise me. And, more tan's always welcome, although as Star Wars has gone on, tan and flesh and dark tan, it's starting to become fairly common, which is a little surprising. And that carries true with the other 2 sets as well, which all feature shades of that general color. The next set, Chirrut Îmwe, sorry, I'm mispronouncing the name again, that's a tricky name to say, looks to actually be fairly involved. He's got some new cloth pieces, he's got some interesting stuff going on with his torso, how that's built, it gives it a unique look. He's got a pretty intricate looking bow, which uses some new parts that we have not yet seen before, to my knowledge, brand new pieces, to actually make up the bow. And he actually looks fairly cool. I'm not going to say all that original, because I can't actually see the intricacies of his build, but if I had to wager, I'd say that, yeah, there's probably at least a few unique design aspects in him to make him a worthy purchase. And I can already spot a couple of cool recolors as well. He's probably going to be one of the more expensive sets because of the cloth pieces, but, that's par for the course at this stage. And then the final set, Baze Malbus. To me, this dude is the least interesting of the bunch. Not because he's bad. Not at all. He looks pretty cool, actually, but just because it's like you have the armored look of a stormtrooper, but then you have the dorky-looking human head that doesn't really work for the model. I don't know. He doesn't appear to have that much interesting going on with him. Some dark tan recolors for sure. But other than that, the main point he has in his favor is the little Technic contraption that makes up his upper torso. And other than that, he appears to be a fairly simple, standard build. He does have some interesting stuff going on, though. It's not to say he's completely devoid of it, because, as I mentioned, that upper Technic contraption on his torso appears to have some way for the shoulder armor to actually hook onto that instead of his upper arms, because you can see that that's, those pinholes are not occupied. And this may seem like a small observation to note, but it does at least mean there are some interesting new design techniques implemented in the build of this dude, even if they don't really affect the look of the set all that much. So at the very least, I'm curious to see how he's built, but the aesthetic, not doing all that much for me personally. So those are the Star Wars Rogue One construction sets, and as well the system sets, which people more knowledgeable than me can pick apart and analyze all the new unique parts of those particular models. Being a construction fan, my thoughts on these sets are rather mixed. I definitely feel like Star Wars is trying to find its footing. I'm not sure if it ever will, to be honest, if they're content to keep making these human characters, and all the ones that are not human characters are basically clone builds. I don't know if that's the real road you need to go on. Perhaps after the Rogue One sets are done being released, we'll get a wave that contains some more characters from Star Wars past, maybe some old Star Wars figures that can bring some new builds and stuff. I don't really know. For what they are interesting at the very least. However, Star Wars sets are overpriced because of the licensing fees, and I'm not entirely sure if the content and builds of these sets are going to justify the high prices. Time will tell, I suppose. I'm sure we'll pick them apart at length in our podcast episodes, but for now, that's about all for the Star Wars 2017 winter sets. What are your guys' thoughts? Do you find interesting stuff about these sets? Do you think the system sets are cool, representative? Are you excited for the buildable figures? Post your thoughts in the comments section below or on the TTV message boards at board.ttvchannel.com, and stay tuned for more exciting LEGO 2017 news as it happens. Thank you very much, and goodbye.